And you know, I get asked on a day-to-day basis, do you miss boxing? And if you came back, who would you fight? Most days I don't miss it. I'm very content doing what I'm doing in life right now. Who would you fight? That's the problem. You know, it's a lot of names out there, but it's not a lot of names that make sense, you know. But it's one name that I've brought up before that when you say that name, I can see myself fighting him. Present day, today. If the business was right and if, you know, everything was right on that front, me and Anthony Joshua. That's a fight that I would take at Wembley Stadium. It's a dangerous fight for my legacy. It's a dangerous fight across the board. And but that's a fight that would get me in the gym and get me in the mindset that I need to be in to go to war. It's Anthony Joshua. And I know you're getting ready to, you know, fight Jake Paul. It looks like that's where it's going. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a real fight.
James Turner for the untouchable True School Sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I'll be honest with you guys. I really didn't think I was going to talk about this particular part of the news, but listen, this month of August is a historically slow month in the world of boxing, so I guess we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So for those of you who are like my OG viewers, like for those of you who have been watching me since like 2016, 2017, you may remember back in those days, so I was a lot younger. I was like, what, 21, 22? I was like, yeah, I was old. I was a young cat back then, young, wide-eyed, enthusiastic young man, you know, just spewing off and shooting off at the mouth. Sometimes I knew what I was talking about, sometimes I didn't. And should be told, not much has changed. Now listen, I want to talk about Andre Ward, because back in those days, I used to, you know, I was like the #1 Andre Ward hater. You know, I didn't like how they used Andre Ward to try to discredit Roman Gonzalez, and then I thought Kovalev won the first fight, so that's where most of it came from. But you know, he had a great career. They're undefeated, still our last gold medalist here in America, so that counts for something. He's definitely a great fighter, even if I wasn't the biggest fan of his style. Now look, let's talk about something he said, because I haven't made an Andre Ward video in years. Andre Ward came out, as you guys saw in the beginning of this video, and he said something that he said a long time ago. You know, many years ago, I remember when Andre Ward got on ESPN and started talking about how he could beat Anthony Joshua at heavyweight, you know, and that was a while ago. And now Andre Ward is saying pretty much the same thing years later. He's saying, look, if it came down to it, you know, because he's still a fighter at heart. Fighters are always going to have that fighting spirit within them. So it's a very hard thing it's very hard to replicate the feeling of being involved in big time boxing. And I never even fought in a big time boxing fight, but I've been around a camp for one, so I have a somewhat of an idea what it feels like, and there's nothing like it. It's amazing, right? So I get why fighters have a hard time retiring, and I get why fighters always want to come back. But he said, look, he want to fight Anthony Joshua. That's the only fight that could get him out of an 8-year retirement, you know, to get in the mode to train hard and win his fights. And to that I say this: if I'm Anthony Joshua, I'm taking this as like the ultimate form of disrespect, because, you know, and, you know, I would take it as like, yo, Andre Ward really thinks I'm a punk. He thinks I'm a straight punk, and he thinks he's going to come up, what is it, like, what? He fought at light heavyweight to end his career, so that'd be two weight classes coming up. He turned pro as like a 54, 60 pounder, really made his noise at 68. So for the sake of argument, a 68 pounder is going to come up to heavyweight and beat up me? Like, I would take that as the ultimate form of disrespect, and I would actually give him exactly what he's asking for, and force him to have to stand on what he said, because this ain't the first time he said this, and he said this in multiple different decades. So if you feel so strongly about it and you really want to put your O up, then be my guest. You could end up with the same record as Demetrius Andrade. You could be 32-1, right? You know, that's how I would take it. And truth be told, like if Andre Ward fought Anthony Joshua, and let's just say he got drilled and got knocked out, then he deserved it because he's been asking for it for years. So, you know, sometimes if you ask enough, you shall receive what you want. But look, those are his thoughts. He's being real. We ask people to be real all the time in society and in life, and those are his real thoughts and those are his real ambitions. As far as fighting, if he has any fight left in him, then I gotta respect it. He's being real. He's being authentic. He's not lying. He's not saying, "Yeah, I want to fight like one of these guys that don't have a big name at light heavyweight." Like, you know, no, he's you know, he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the legacy. He's in the Hall of Fame already. Like, Andre Ward wants to be in a big money legacy fight where if he wins, he'll get an immense amount of credit. And I will say this: let's just say hypothetically, Ward versus Joshua did happen, okay? And let's just say, because look, Andre Ward is about 6 inches shorter than Anthony Joshua. His reach is 11 inches shorter than Anthony Joshua. So if he came back at the age of what is he now? How old is good old Andre Ward? Andre Ward is pushing what? Andre Ward is 41 years old. And I know Anthony Joshua is not no spring chicken. Anthony Joshua is 35 himself, but Andre Ward is in his 40s. So he be coming off of a what, 8-year layoff? The year is almost over, so let's just assume they fight in 2026. He be coming off a 9-year layoff. If Andre Ward were able to beat Anthony Joshua at 41 or 42 years old, coming off of a 9-year layoff, then I think you could actually at that point put him in the discussion, in the argument. He's already there for a lot of people, but I think he'd have a strong case as being the greatest fighter of the last 30 years because nobody's done that before. I mean, to be a guy who turned pro at 54? What weight class did he turn pro at? Let me get my facts straight here. I'm pretty sure he turned pro at 54 or 60. I'm tripping. He actually turned pro as a 68-pounder, and then he moved down to 60 for a couple fights, and then so he never fought at 54. So I'm tripping, but basically a guy who's fought 160, 168, 175 his whole career, fighting a guy like Anthony Joshua, who, by the way, I know people like to say AJ's this punk because he was a fighter that throughout the duration of his career he always stepped up to the plate. For the most part, excluding the whole Wilder fiasco, which I think they both had a role to play in that whole thing. Apart from that, he's always been a fighter that stepped up to the plate. He's fought Usyk twice. He fought Joseph Parker. He fought, Andy Ruiz. He fought Povetkin. He fought Klitschko. He fought a whole lot of guys. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost, but we always watch because he was worth our time, right? But he's lost some of those fights. So a lot of people think AJ's a punk. AJ's a coward. He's a fraud. Listen, don't get it fucked up, guys. Anthony Joshua is still 6'6". His knockout ratio in his career is 89%, which lets you know that when it comes down to it, when Anthony Joshua is in that ring, he's a very dangerous fighter. So this is not like fighting. I know Andre Ward looks up to Roy Jones Jr. and Roy Jones Jr. beat John Ruiz. This ain't Roy Jones Jr. fighting John Ruiz. First of all, Roy was in his prime when he was doing that, or at least close to his athletic prime than Ward is now. And John Ruiz was not close to the puncher that Anthony Joshua is. Not even in the same category of being the puncher that Anthony Joshua is. So it's a different type of task to tackle. But again, no risk, no reward. So look, if Andre Ward really has it in his heart and his spirit, and I'm going to take him at his word, I think Anthony Joshua should pull his card. Forget Jake Paul, forget any of these fights. Fight Andre Ward. Fight him. Give him what he's asking for. And then look, this is where we're at in boxing now. These fights with guys from weight classes, 4 weight classes down with bigger fighters. You really shouldn't get credit for beating Andre Ward. The same way Canelo really shouldn't get credit for beating Terrence Crawford. But look, these guys have been asking for it. So if you beat them up, you're gonna get more credit, even though you don't deserve it. So it's a win-win for you. More money, more legacy, and a more enhanced reputation if you go on there and get the job done. So why not? But those are my thoughts. Shout out to Andre Ward for expressing, his authentic thoughts on what he feels. And Anthony Joshua obliged him. He said, look, it looks different on film. In that ring, it's a lot different. So, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Anthony Joshua is not going to fight Deontay. Unless Wilder fights Deontay Wilder, I wouldn't mind this fight. I'd rather see this fight than him against Jake Paul or anybody else heavyweight, except maybe Philip Hrgovic. But I'm biased for Hrgovic, so that's different. But, Yeah, I think in terms of a big fight, why not do it? What do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on The Untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.